Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Kyler Wilson, and this is my extremely lovely, talented co-host, Monica Kasurik.
And this is FilmRants.
And I'm wearing a hat.
I wish I had a stream. I love you. The same 12 actors? Please subscribe to the channel.
Richard Ring.
I wasn't being stank-faced. You.
So guys, this episode's going to be a lot different than our previous episodes.
We are so astounded by this film that we have to leave our traditional format just to make this work.
And by astounded, we mean perplexed. We both dislike this film quite a lot, so we're just going to jump right into our spoiler-full portion.
You heard us right. We're going to talk a little bit about this movie's successes, but ultimately we're going to ruin it for you if you haven't seen it.
Danger, Will Robinson! Danger! No, Will Robinson! Danger!
And what movie are we talking about other than Boyhood? Okay, so this movie had a production budget of $4 million, and it was shot over 12 years, and it raked in $50 million globally, so I guess this would be considered a success.
This film scores 98% on Rotten Tomatoes, and even has an audience score of 84%.
All of which we totally disagree with. For those of you playing catch-up and haven't heard of this movie, here's the premise. Richard Linklater, the director, used the same cast over the course of 12 years and focused primarily on the story of the 6-year-old boy turned into 18-year-old man. This
film stars Ethan Hawke, Patricia Arquette, and two no-names, Eller Coltrane and Lorelei Linklater.
This movie is being heralded right now for how amazing it is. It's been nominated for way too many awards to ever list off on this show. It's been nominated for awards I didn't even know existed until this movie.
So this movie seems to be liked by both the film community and the audience.
But I'm part of the film community.
And I'm the audience.
We don't get it. Of course, that's not saying we don't get the film. It's pretty straightforward. It's about a 6-year-old boy that grows up.
And they use the same actors for 12 years. So what?
I can hear the roar of the people who love this film already.
What do you mean, so what? They use the same actors for 12 years. That's amazing. That's never been done before.
That's great, but that doesn't mean it makes a good movie.
Look, this movie had a lot going for it. They got 12-year commitments from actors and nobody died. That is a feat within itself. 2 of the actors are seasoned pros. 2 of the actors are not, but at least the kids they got weren't absolutely terrible at acting. Could they have been better? Well, yes, yeah, of course they could. But were they terrible? No, they just weren't terrible, so they've got that going for them. But just because you've done something that no one else has ever done before doesn't mean that you've made a good product. Case in point, I could make an 8-hour Steadicam shot. That does not mean that my movie is going to be interesting or good.
We want you to stop and think about something.
If you removed the fact that this movie was shot with the same actors over 12 years, would you care?
Is there anything else that is special about this movie? Did you find the story invigorating?
Because we didn't. In order to have a good, watchable film, you need some sort of a plot. And unfortunately, this movie has only the very faintest semblance of that.
Just take a step back and ask yourself, what is this movie about?
It's about a boy who grows up.
Okay, what happens?
He has these experiences that turn him into the man that we see at the end of the movie.
Okay, but what is this movie about?
Oh, it's about a boy who grows up. They use the same actors for 12 years.
And therein lies the problem. A 3-hour film and 12 years to make. What can you really tell us about the characters? You can tell us that Mason likes taking pictures, but can you tell us why? Can you talk about his character? Can you tell me who he is?
No, you can't. Because this movie didn't focus on any of that. All the filmmakers have, and all the fans have, who really, really love this film, is the fact that it was made over 12 years and it used the same actors. And no one has ever done that before.
And don't think we don't think that this isn't impressive, because it is.
But once again, that does not make it a good movie. Now, there are things that are done well in this film. For example, the cinematography is pretty damn good through and through. I'll even say that the direction is good. I mean, it seems to me that he pulled good performances from his actors on a scene-by-scene basis.
And the scenes are engaging.
But only if you keep it to a scene-by-scene basis. All of these scenes individually are really good. All of these scenes have a beginning, a middle, and an end, which is what you have to have a good story. The problem is the second you string all of these scenes together, you have a boring and pointless movie about the monotony of life.
If we wanted to see that, we would have invested in the live-action Sims movie they've been trying to get off the ground for years.
If this movie was titled A Series of Short Films Using the Same Actors, it'd probably be a pretty good piece of work. But the second you give it the guise of being a single, cohesive movie, it falls apart. Both for me as a viewer and as a filmmaker.
It ends up being long and pretentious. Either that, or this is the world's longest acting reel for Eller Coltrane.
On top of that, this movie was intending to be the most realistic movie about boyhood ever. But it skips major things that happen in a boy's life. Like that first crush you had and she broke your heart when you were 8 years old.
Or the struggle in a boy's head when he's trying to decide if he wants to live with his mom or dad during the divorce. He probably wants to live with his dad, but he doesn't want to leave his mom.
Or that time you got caught whacking it because you were going through puberty and that is literally the only thing you were good for.
But we skip over all that real life stuff and focus on a boy that is basically drudging through life.
But here's the thing. We as viewers don't want a super realistic movie. And it's because it is as boring as the day is long. Don't believe us? Check this out. This is real life. Hey babe.
Hey.
What happened at work today?
I went to work and I had coffee and I lost my favorite pen, and then somebody threw trash in the wrong bin, and then a car hit the building and broke all the windows. Then we had to call the police.
Oh. That's cool. Okay, now you see how boring that all was until we got up to the car wreck? That's the way this movie was. We don't care about the other crap. Let's get to the wreck. Unless that coffee adds to the story in some way, shape, or form, it's pointless information. Because we already know what real life is like.
That isn't to say that you can't add things to spice it up. But when you throw everything in the mixing bowl without the right measurements, you just kind of get a big mashup of bleh.
We wouldn't be so upset about this film, except for we feel like the people who really like this movie are misleading other people into seeing it under false pretenses. Here's an excerpt from Tom Long's review in the Detroit News.
Linklater has crafted what may be the most ingenious film of the century.
Ingenious? What is ingenious about this film?
This is from Stephen Raya with the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Is it dumb to say wow? I don't care. Wow.
Wow, what?
Now here's one I find particularly interesting. From Rafael Guzman.
Richard Linklater's latest feels more like living a life than watching a movie.
That's a positive review, by the way. After 2 hours and 46 minutes of watching a prepubescent kid hipster his way through life, I must agree. That was like living a life. And it was terrible. Kyler Wilson.
Note that most of the reviews out there don't say anything about the script, the acting, or the filmmaking portion of this movie. What we want to know is, were they even working from a script? Because it feels like they were just making it up as they went.
All anyone wants to talk about is that they used the same actors for 12 years. Well, I'm sorry, but you could film this movie over 40 years with the same actors, and it's still gonna be uninteresting.
Let me get you some real talk.
This movie is a gimmick. It is a 12-year-long gimmick, and you have had the wool pulled over your eyes. You want to know what I want out of 12 years? 12 really great films. Not one bad to mediocre at best movie.
Some people have been saying this movie's about art and not the money.
Well, shut up, because if it wasn't about the money, they'd be donating all their proceeds to charity. They knew they had a product that they could manufacture for cheap. And because of the gimmick, they'd rake in millions. Kind of like China. My point is they raked in millions, and they're keeping it.
But if you think we're wrong, then we challenge you to let us know how.
If you take away using the same people for 12 years to shoot a movie, what do you have? We encourage you to let us know and tell us where we're wrong. Because as it stands, we feel like we got force-fed a steaming pile of shit. Hey guys, thanks again for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed this episode of FilmRants.
Please give us a shout below, give us a like, hit us up on Facebook and Twitter.
Bing bam boom. Shots fired. What'd you think of Boyhood?
That's gonna be my daughter's name. Pretentious, get your ass over here before I whoop you. Pretentious. 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 We'll call her PJ for short. I was built on anger. I know what I did, girl. You gotta tell me.
You ready?
Hey, baby. Hey. Ooh, we got popcorn. This doesn't say that you can't add things to spice it up.
Hang on.
Hashtag hot mess in the pan.
What?
People are gonna get so pissed off at me.